in the spirit of extending grace, here's the story that people have been talking about, but I don't know if it's going to
Grace
have.
is off the table as we go into this conversation.
Yeah, so this is a no holds barred conversation. I'm going to be blunt, and yeah, let's move on. So last week we had the story of Dash. So Henry, can you give us the lowdown of Dash?
Okay. Dash is or was a financial technology company that wanted to change the entire dynamic of mobile money, and then sort of bring a kind of concordance or connect it with the banking system across different countries. It's basically something that wanted to be an app for everything you need everywhere you go. Whether you're transacting with mobile money or bank as you're switching countries on the continent. So it started off, and then we didn't hear much of Dash, honestly, until the seed round that was announced last year. I think it was $32.8 million.
That was like a record.
It was huge for an African startup at that point in time. So people took notice, and people were like, whoa, let's pay attention to this company. And honestly, something, a little odd happened a few weeks after that announcement, when suddenly news got out that the Bank of Ghana, was sort of clamping down on Dash and trying to, basically told them to cease operations because they were operating without the appropriate licenses. And it was just, I don't know if it was up to 2 weeks after the announcement of that seed round. So when I first saw that news, in fact, I was like, this will not be accurate. Maybe there is, maybe this is just sensationalism. Maybe there is something that we don't know. So I tried my possible best to get to the bottom of that matter, but it's proved futile. So for all we know, Dash was a company that was doing quite well until it emerged that that wasn't the case. And a lot of things have since, come to light since then. The company as it is winding down, and the reason that things got to this stage, or the chain of events leading up to this stage of things, is a lot of, should I say, questionable decisions, questionable actions, just different things that happened inside the company on the part of the company's leadership. And to this moment, we don't know if some of the alleged allegations basically are, enough to actually get the founder brought to book, because from my conversations with people, nobody knows of any legal matter around the whole subject at this point in time. But there is confirmation that there was malfeasance at the heart of the issue, and it, was orchestrated by the founder and certain members of his leadership. So
let me just interject there. Can you give us like the malfeasances, if permit me, if I can use that word, please? Precious, don't come for me. But yeah, Precious is our copy editor. So
yeah,
like, can you give me bullet points? Like, what exactly were they doing? Like, just list them out.
Okay. When suggestions of this first emerged, and the founder of Dash, Prince Bonpong, was suspended, the board of the company called an audit, and that audit would eventually reveal, certain things. And some of the things revealed were that the company's, numbers, the numbers that touted the company's impressive growth, were not really as it seemed. Dash was said to be making, millions of dollars in revenue. Transactions processed had crossed $1 billion according to the company. Its user base that crossed 3 million into 4 million territory, according to what was reported to the media over a period. And it was found that those numbers were false, basically, and they did not have those numbers as they claimed. So it also emerged that the founder misappropriated an amount of money totaling up to $8 million. And some of this money went into private purchases for, houses, property. And then I think there's a car as well involved. So this financial misreporting as well as misappropriation were some of the main ingredients in the issue. And of course it begs a lot of questions.
That's interesting. And do you have like something to say at this point?
Due diligence.
Okay, let's not go there yet.
No, I think we should talk about it sincerely.
Like now, have we heard the full story? Like, have we heard the full gist? I want to know before we move to due diligence.
Well, that's it more or less.
Because I heard
there's something else
there's something that I read that he was paying himself $600,000.
Oh
yeah. That part.
Now one paying plenty of us.
Salary was hefty, and I think something that stood out was the fact that the company hadn't managed to actually put its product, like get its product into the market and start making real money. I mean, all this, revenue that it was said to be making were not the case. So it was struggling internally to go to market, basically. So
wait, we're even talking of go to market, not PMF.
Actually, it had a platform, it had an app. I mean, if you go on Play Store, you'd see the app has 100,000 plus downloads. But the company's internal systems, have a number much lower at around 28,000 users. And these users are not users that are actually that the company is making revenue from. They are just users. But the product itself had, issues that were being ironed out. There were teams in several countries, from the USA to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya,
globally
South Africa. So all these teams were in several places. The number of employees at its peak was well over 100. And it's just, I don't know if it's good practice, but I don't think it's good practice to have a team that large, to be that bloated so early.
When you're not even
when the company isn't yet making money. And then the salaries too, hiring all this quality talent from so many different places. You have to compete, and competition means you have to make good offers. So there was a salary bloat at the company, and I don't know how eventually all the money ran out so soon, because the company
it's obvious. Why will it not run out? You're not making money.
Yeah, it's really fast. The burn was really fast, and over its lifetime, it raised over $80 million. And it is most unfortunate that at the end of the day, the investors who trusted the company, who believed in the vision, will just have to count their losses. Although there are question marks around whether the investors did their homework enough, or whether they were just driven to the next.
So back to Nefemi's point about due diligence. I think that's the main trust.
Yeah. So I think I will not say I won't tell investors how to handle their businesses, but I would just say that they should look beyond the charisma, how those people, the founders impress them, or so-called track record that the founders have. They should look beyond that and look at what they hold as values. You get, like, some of us grew up to not spend other people's money until they give us the money, right? It starts from something as basic as that. Those are values that make you to say that investors' money is not my money. Investors' money, raising money is not spending money. Raising money is to make money. So looking at those values that those people would, how they manage, have they ever even tasted having money before to start with? Because when you have gotten to that stage and you just receive one big money like this, the money will confuse you, and the money will tell you this is how you should spend me, instead of you control the money how you should spend it. So I think we should go beyond just looking at the charisma that this person has, how the person has been able to pitch what they are building, how they've been able to sell that dream to you, and go beyond that. There's this thing that I noticed with investors. When something like this happens, this is not just a statistic of 9 out of 10 startups fail. This is not the regular statistics of 9 out of 10 startups fail. This is like
I see your point.
it's not that you get. So in this case, investors themselves are looking at themselves and like, no, this is terrible. So in this case like this, when you were talking about no legal things surrounding it, investors are the ones that are supposed to take that kind of step, but they will not, because it put like a stigma on them, like bah, why will you put this much money, are you, and this kind of thing happen, you get. So I just feel that I think so. I don't know who tweeted it. One of the founders, one of the OGs in the Nigerian tech ecosystem, that said going forward, raising fund will be like you are going for colonoscopy or I don't know, maybe teeth removal, because they will tell you open wide.
Oh, root canal.
Root canal, yeah. So you are going to open wide. They are going to look deep because, well, there's no money in the investment market to start with. So we're not going to put our money where you will lavish it. And it's recurring. This kind of thing is recurring, and it's putting a bad stain on the investment side. So I hope we just fix up. I hope we fix up. And I hope media will stop celebrating fundraise.
Well, you publish fundraiser.
No, starting.
Well, I know fundraise. Maybe it's unpopular at the moment, announcing it, celebrating it. But I have to point out that fundraise is an important milestone on the venture journey. It's an important milestone, and it's a good thing you said media, fundraise and all that stuff, because it's media's duty to highlight what's going on, and fundraise can be what's going on, but also, egregious behavior can also be what's going on. So media is there to bear witness. So ultimately, I think the ecosystem will be better for it, given the whole incident. Although it's very unfortunate, I do believe that for the most part, the investment community does a thorough job of due diligence. But over the past year or two, there was just, a period of, should I say, irresponsible investing on, to a certain degree. It's almost like it became gambling at the point, You don't want to miss this ship. You want to get in early and,
FOMO.
That kind of thing. And then the African tech ecosystem is quite promising, and there's potential for people who get early ins to actually make huge returns in the long run. So I don't know how, silver-tongued Prince Bompong was, but he did, sell a vision that investors bought into. And I'm sure at certain points in time, there was maybe an inkling or an actual plan on ground to follow through with it. But it's just really, really, you just can't ignore the fact that so many things went wrong, and it's not because of, and it's not accidental. It's not something that just happened that you had no control over. Mm-hmm. These were, just some very, very questionable actions that he took, and the company is unfortunately going under because of it. So ultimately, this whole thing is a correction that has been due for some time, and it will just, it's not necessarily a stain on the entire ecosystem or a blight. It will just make us return to doing things the way it should be done. Mm-hmm. So that's what I believe.
So here is my underlying issue with all of this.
Okay, let's hear you.
This guy, you remember my intro? This guy,
okay,
mark my words, in a few years' time, he's going to raise money for another fund. They will say he has learned his lesson.
You don't believe in second chances?
This is a second chance.
Second chance.
No. This is a second startup actually.
Oh yeah, so third chances.
Yeah, third chances, right? And his co-founder from his first startup was also involved in another issue.
Oh, that's a different matter altogether. But
you get what I'm saying.
Yes, so we should look at the values of the founder. I know you separate the business from the founder, but sometimes we just have to look into it.
So what if he comes back and say he has learned? Because so the same thing happened with Health Lane. Health Lane, actually, before Health Lane, there was Gifted Mom. Mm-hmm. Gifted Mom went the way Health Lane went. Mm-hmm. He came back and said he has learned his lesson. So
I'm not the one that will tell the investors how to do their business.
Have investors learned their lesson, or are they going to, if this guy comes with another startup and he learns his lesson, I'm going to feel bad about.
I don't believe there is anybody that sets out to become a venture capitalist that just sets out to throw money away to start with. So it's the onus is on, the people with the money to actually make sure that where their money is going to, they can, rest easy that this is a bet that they should be making. And even after making the bet, how much, corporate governance is going to be put in place to ensure that things are running, on the up and up, those sort of things. So these are, questions. Maybe right now things are difficult in the market because of the, nature of the venture capital, and the financial markets and all that stuff. But ultimately, people want to invest. People want to, grow their money. And there's an opportunity in Africa. They just have to do a better job of picking which bets to make. In fact, why am I calling it bet? So it doesn't sound like gamble. Let's call it investment. Because ultimately, venture capital, it's about making money. There is even capital in the name. It's about giving money to make money. So you don't want to just see all your money go down the drain. So the onus is on you to do a better job of choosing who to give your money to. So if a founder emerges after, a period of controversy like this and appears to be a changed man, and, you convince yourself that he's changed, nobody's going to stop you. But, ultimately, the handwriting is on the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to learn or you're not going to learn?
It's okay. It's all right. I think it's been a really interesting one. So I guess, there were red flags, and I wonder why people didn't pick up on it on time. Someone close to the matter actually told me they saw the amount of transactions that was coming through Dash, and they had to block them off because it was ridiculous for a startup that just raised and it's just new to the market, and they are processing. So those transaction figures they were actually talking about, it seems it's not actually totally fake. It's just something that
it's not genuine in that.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's not the company, doing all these numbers and transactions.
Yes, exactly.
Just, them cooking the books,
cooking
financial
things.
misreporting and all that stuff.
What's this Breaking Bad guy's name?
Is it Walter White?
Walter White.
Yes. Your Walter
cooking.
White cook.
That kind of thing. So there were red flags, like you said. It is unprecedented for a company at that stage to grow the way it did, especially without the sort of visibility that you would expect. Especially, it's a consumer-facing company first, although there was a business-facing product that was being developed, but it was, generally, initially consumer-facing.
Yeah.
So these volumes, where are they?
Why do people using it?
Maybe this is one of those cases where you're like, this one could have been found out. Like, it could have been easy to spot this. Any, small amount of due diligence should have, brought it out. But I don't know how it played out ultimately on the inside. But, it's the world of, investing. Is it possible that someone who was in early, knew about the whole thing and wanted to get out? Of course, they need to, hand it over to somebody else.
Yeah.
If you're, I don't know.
He has to convince other
all these things
investors to put their money in so that at least.
Yeah, it's not like, it may have become a game of musical chairs where you come in and see that, it's a house of cards. But then, if you scream loud, you might, end up ruining your own investments too. So you're like, maybe, of course, this is all speculation.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's possible that this is how the company actually managed to carry on with the deception for as long as it did.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting one. So, yeah, thank you, Harry, for that insightful perspective. And like I said, we should see.
As well.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I think I like Nifemi and Henry have said, I think we should see more due diligence in investments and startups. We should be more critical when even someone says they've changed, because most of the time it doesn't happen that way. But yeah, that's I think those are key takeaways.